Okay, so I thought I'd do a little Valentine's recipe for you on camera. This is a really nice one. It's like a hummus pie, and the bottom's going to be a little bit cheesy because I'm putting almond flour and what else am I putting in there? Almond flour and nutritional yeast to make it a little bit cheesy. I'm then going to talk about veganism and relationships. Right, so the first thing you need to do with this recipe is actually crumble together some stalk margarine with some flour, which I'm going to add in now. I'm not making like a big pie. If you want to make a big pie, just do a lot more than this. We're going to add some nutritional yeast. Yum, I like quite a lot. And also some basil. And you just crumble this all together and it makes a nice kind of dough. So now that it's all crumbled up, I'm just going to add a little bit of water and then mix it around until it makes a soft dough. So now that it's a soft dough, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the fridge for a couple of minutes, and I'm going to roast up a few vegetables to go on the little pies. Okay, so what I really like to do with roast vegetables and fried vegetables is use a dressing to actually fry them up with. This gives them a lot more flavour and it's really, really nice. I do this with roast potatoes, just put dressing on that, and I also quite regularly do it with vegetables as well. Sometimes you do need to add a little bit of oil. You need to check the dressing if it's got oil in it, or if like how much oil it's got. I think I might need to add a little bit of oil in this anyway, but yeah, it's a nice way of doing roast vegetables and it gives it a lot more flavour. So I'm just going to mix these round. I've put a little bit of vegetable on it as well, so it should be quite nice. So I think my roast vegetables are done. I don't mind them a little bit crunchy, to be fair. So yeah, just cook them down until you think they're done. I think really what I should have done is put the peppers in first and then the onions in second, because the onions have gone down really quickly. The peppers are still a little bit hard and crunchy, but I think they'll be quite nice. Okay, so I'm just going to grease the pan now. This is very, very simple. I actually cut out the pastry with a little cookie cutter, like a round one, so that they can fit into the little pie dishes, so that should be nice. Yeah, so I'm just making sure it doesn't stick. Right, so now what I'm going to do is just place them in these little trays. I'm not actually going to put any filling in them. I'm just going to cook the pastry and then put the filling on afterwards. This is quite a simple technique. I don't normally do this technique, but I think it would go well with the roast vegetables. So yeah. Right, so I've just taken the little tarts out of the oven. They were in there for about half an hour and they're nice and crunchy and crispy, so they should be really nice. I'm going to put the hummus on them now. So I'm going to put quite a big dollop of hummus and just mix it around a little bit like this. These look so cute. What I would do in the future is I'll probably get something to press them down a little bit more, because they're a bit, I mean, this one's got a big dent in it like that, and some of them are a bit lopsided, but apart from that I think they're quite nice. Right, so next we're just going to add a spoonful of roast vegetables on top of each one. So these are quite nice. Well, they are quite cute. They're a little bit messy though. Look at them. Aww. Oh well. About veganism and relationships. So I've got my little pie here and my roasted vegetables. These roasted vegetables are yummy, I have to say. Right, so I also thought I'd try the little pie for you on camera. I've never made a pie like this before. I've never made it with just a pastry case and then stuffed stuff in the middle, but hopefully it's nice. So this is really good. The only thing I would say about it is it's very drippy. Um, mm, mm. And the pastry just like falls apart in your hand. So um, if I was making this again, I probably would put possibly more flour in. It's a bit too crumbly for me. I'm going to talk to you about today. Um, this pastry was so bad. I'm hoping I'll get the right footage for it because I did like 3 or 4 different takes. But anyway, it's very crumbly and it takes a long time to chew. It's not like pasta or anything like that, but it is lovely. It's a lovely pie. Anyway, so I wanted to talk to you about veganism and relationships and why I would date a non-vegan. So personally, one of the reasons for this is that because I've dated vegans and non-vegans. I've had 5 boyfriends while being vegan, and then one when I was non-vegan. I've been vegan since the age of 19, so you know. So 2 of my boyfriends were vegan. One of them was vegetarian. He went vegetarian while he was with me, so you know. And 2 of them were meat eaters. Now, one of the things I would say is that I think the personality matters more than whether they are vegan or vegetarian. And I think that it's very important for me. I have a specific type of personality that I go for. So I like someone who's very kind and giving and loyal. If someone's not really like that, then it's just a bit of a turn off for me. And I think everyone has a specific type that they like. Some guys go for tall women with blonde hair. Some people go for a specific personality, and I think that that kind of personality is quite important to a relationship. I also think that you need to look at what you want out of a relationship as well, because I think that's more important than whether they're vegan or non-vegan. If you're someone who wants flexible dating, I heard about this the other day, then you need someone else who wants flexible dating, so that wants to maybe casual fun, or to be in a polyamorous relationship or something like that. You also need to make sure that the person that you're dating also has the same views on you about what they want out of a marriage. So some people may want a serious relationship, they may want to get married in the future, but they may not have the same ideas as you. So for me, like, I want to become a lecturer at university. That's one of my really big career aims, but at the same time I feel like if I had kids, I'd have a certain responsibility towards them. I'd have a certain responsibility towards my mum and nan if they got ill. So I would want someone that's able to support me while I look after my nan and mum, and also look after my kids, but also respects that I want my own career, I suppose. So you need to make sure that you're actually on the same page about what you want out of life. I think someone who wanted me to stay at home 24/7 for the rest of my life, I don't think that that would be a relationship I necessarily would want to be in. Nor do I think I would want to be in a relationship where I have to work, while he looked after the kids at home. So I don't know. I think that for me, there's a kind of balance there. And I think that you need to make sure that you're on the same wavelength on what you want out of life. Whether you both want kids and what type of marriage that you want. I also think that kind of other beliefs, I mean, you have this belief about kids, but that's not the only belief that you might have. But I think that there are other beliefs that might be more important to you than veganism. So if you're Roman Catholic, for example, you might want your kids to be brought up in the Roman Catholic faith. If you are saving yourself a marriage like me, it's kind of important that you communicate that, and that's on the table, and you both understand that that's what's going to happen. Otherwise, you just end up with someone who's incompatible with you, even though you're both vegan. So you're like, one's like a fairy princess and one's like a goth. So it's like two completely different things. The other thing is that it isn't really important that they necessarily have the same beliefs as you, but it's important that they respect your beliefs, because I find this with a lot of vegans, not omnivores. I find omnivores respect my beliefs, and with my two exes that weren't vegan, one of them we cooked vegan food together, and the other one we just kind of did our own cooking, and sometimes I cook him a meal, but that was about it. Um, but I think it's important that you have someone who actually respects your beliefs, and I think that's more important um, than having someone that's vegan. Because if you, for example, like I'm a Tory vegan, so I get a lot of hate from other vegans saying I'm not really vegan because I vote Tory. And me going on a date with someone who's like, oh well, you're not vegan because you don't date vote Tory, it's just a waste of my time and his time. And I don't really want to be around someone like that. I don't want to be around someone that's rude about my opinions on politics. Um, and so I think that having someone that respects your beliefs is more important than necessarily having someone that agrees with them. Because I don't think you're going to have someone that agrees with every single one of your beliefs. And even if you did, you might not be compatible with them. So the second thing I wanted to say is that something like 80% of vegans go back to eating meat. And I think that as so many vegans go back to eating meat, you might get married to a vegan, or you might get engaged to a vegan, or you might enter a long-term relationship with a vegan. And then what happens when they change their mind about, what they're eating? I think that them changing their mind about veganism isn't as big a deal as them changing their mind about something that has much more impact on the relationship. So, for example, changing their mind about wanting to live in the UK and wanting to, take you and your family to Spain, that's much bigger, has a much bigger impact on you. It's the same with not wanting to have children or not wanting to have more children. But I think that if you're in a good relationship, you should be able to accept the person as they are, and accept that the person will change over time and grow over time, and develop their opinions over time. And you should be able to compromise with that person and agree with that person if they do change their opinions on such a big thing. And if you can't agree about veganism, then how are you going to agree about not wanting to have more kids? Or how are you going to agree about wanting to move to Spain? Or how are you going to agree about something else that is more major and has more impact on the relationship? So I think that it's important to be able to compromise with your partner, and if they change their beliefs on things, that you're able to kind of include them but compromise about them. So for example, if they decided tomorrow that they weren't going to be vegan and you had two kids with them, maybe you could say, okay, well, you're not vegan, but the kids are going to stay vegan, and we're going to have a vegan household, but when you go out to eat, you can eat whatever you want. So it's about being able to make those compromises and agreements with people, and I think that that's really quite important within a relationship. The other thing is, I really don't think that you can get into a relationship with someone and convert them to being I don't think you can get into a relationship with someone and convert them to being a vegan. I don't think it's going to work. I think you are just wasting your breath. With people that with Aidan, I was able to convince him to go vegetarian, but we had massive arguments over the fact he wasn't vegan. And I just don't think that everyone is there. I mean, I couldn't imagine one of my exes, Josh, ever being a vegan. Not in a billion years. So I think it depends on the person, but I wouldn't go into a relationship thinking you can change them. You need to go into a relationship liking them as they are and accepting the person as they are. You can't go into a relationship wanting to change someone. It just doesn't work like that. So anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Please subscribe and like this video. Bye, guys.